So a lot of earnings out on the day. Finally, we're getting through to Pan-African and some fantastic numbers coming through. You're basically saying that you had steady state production at Barberton Mines, but it's all the gold price that is really helping to fuel these earnings.
Yeah, definitely. You know, the gold price increased in South African rand terms by over 40%, and I think that gave us, for the first time, we broke over R1 billion in revenue and made about 360 million rand profit, but that was after a capital investment of close to 250 million rand.
You have invested £10.7 million in Barberton. That was up from 6.8 million in the previous period. What is production looking like there? Are you looking to ramp up production further?
Yes, we are. We've got a major project that's under construction, the Barberton Tailings Project, and that will ramp production up from 95,000 ounces to 120,000 ounces by June of next year.
Let's talk about profit margins when we're talking about the gold price, because a fantastic increase in profit margins, up 57%, $918 per ounce. Overall, what type of cost escalation did you experience during the period?
We experienced about a cost escalation of 12%, which is about 2% below mining inflation, which is sitting at about 14%. So I think we're fairly pleased that management have kept costs well under control.
And going forward, do you have any predictions as to what cost pressures you're going to be facing with next year? We know that Eskom still sitting debating that new tariff for the next 3 years. So, but overall, have you been able to price in what you're looking at for 2013?
Yes, we know that Eskom's going to drop from 26% to 16%. The full effect has not come in this financial year. It only started in April of this year. But we're forecasting about 14% in line with mining inflation.
And then, of course, we've got to talk about the wage side of the issue. Firstly, are you having pressure from your miners at this point in time?
We are currently in wage negotiations at Barberton Gold Mines. Evander Gold Mines has got a 2-year wage deal, so there aren't any wage negotiations. So we're in discussions with our employees on
what are they
issue.
asking for?
Well, I think that, as you've seen, there has been pressure for increases anywhere between 10 to 16%. But, it's also how you structure those increases. There's demands for housing allowances and special allowances. So it's really how you structure that, and we're busy negotiating that with them.
I mean, what is your view on what has taken place in the mining sector across the board? Wildcat strikes. It seems that the trade unions even, do you feel that they don't have control over the members?
Look, I think it's quite a complex situation. It's not just a one-dimensional problem, but I think that one must recognize that mining is a long-term business, and I think one has to stay level-headed. I think there are serious social underlying issues which the workers have. I think the companies have a valid point, so we have to work through this. I'm confident that the mining companies will get a solution, but as I said, one has to take a long-term view on these issues.
Are you under pressure, though, from shareholders, so many stakeholders at this point in time? Are you under pressure to deliver a certain, return to shareholders? And there's the view that, that it's at the expense of miners. That's the view from some people.
Yes. No, look, our philosophy is that there are 3 stakeholders involved here. You've got your employees, you've got the communities around the mines, and then you've got your shareholders. And the trick is to find the balance between the 3. You've got to deliver returns to your shareholders, but at the same time, you've got to pay your workers a fair wage, and you've got to invest in the communities around that. And I think if you get that balance right, then you've got a long-term sustainable business.
And you feel like you're doing that?
Yes, look, the situation in South Africa is fluid. Up to now, we've managed to get it right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we'll get it right always, but I think for as long as we engage with our employees and talk to all the shareholders and get the input, then I think one can stay positive about the situation.
Talk to us about Phoenix Platinum Mining, the retreatment project there. You're looking to also ramp up production on that end. From the end of July, you started that process. Formally, to tell us about what this means going forward in terms of the ounces that you're going to be treating there.
Yes, I think we're up into steady state production now, so that means we'll produce about 12,000 ounces of platinum group metals a year. It's not a lot, but I think one must keep in mind it's only a processing plant with about 30 people working in the plant, and it makes us about 60 million rand a year. So what it will do is it'll increase the bottom line and will enable us to pay an increased dividend.
And of course, then you've got the Evander acquisition, around 1.5 billion rand, if we're putting it into rands there. Life of mine, 10 years, 100,000 ounces expected per annum. Talk to us about the rights issue and the structuring, basically, of financing this deal.
Yes, so we expect the transaction to close by the end of November, beginning of December. We have to pay Harmony 1.5 billion rand. We're financing that through a rights issue. We have 700 million rand of that rights issue underwritten by institutional shareholders. Another 600 million rand will come from debt that we'll take on from 2 South African banks, and the remainder will come from cash flow which we have in the bank. So we've pretty much got the purchase consideration covered.
And pretty much underwritten, which is a good signal from the investors so far, institutional investors. So going forward, you've got Evander, you've got Barberton, you've got Phoenix. Where does that put Pan-African in the future?
Well, I think this acquisition allows us to increase, virtually double our profitability. We need to better down, focus on our organic growth projects, and the intent is to resume our dividend and grow it.
And committed to South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. We believe there's wonderful opportunities in South Africa. There are some problems at the moment, but if you're a miner, you need to go where the best ore bodies are, and we still believe that they are in South Africa.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Jan Nelson, the CEO of Pan-African Resources.